Welcome to my YouTube automotive channel. In today's video I have a 2014 Dodge Journey RT and I will be talking about main problems and issues on these vehicles. I'm in a used car sales and over the years I've sold probably over hundreds of these units and I have quite decent knowledge, I believe, what are the main issues. This video will apply to Dodge Journeys made from 2009 all the way up to 2020. If you find this video helpful, please consider supporting the channel by liking the video, subscribing to the channel or becoming a channel member. Okay, now first I will talk about any possible rust issues on these vehicles, and honestly I can tell you, like I said, I've sold lots of them and I had rust issues maybe on 2 or 3 of them, and they all came from a place where there is lots of salt being used in the winter on the roads. But generally these vehicles do not have any rust problems. I know some other makes and models will have much more issues on the rocker panels being rusted out, or the quarter panels or stuff like that, but these vehicles generally do not have these issues, so I will not be talking too much about it because I'm quite happy in what condition they come. Okay, now mechanically, regarding the engine, transmission, things like that, there is a couple of things that happen quite often, and this is what I will be talking about in these videos. So if you are on the used car market and planning to buy a Dodge Journey, you know what to look at and what to expect in the near future. I will start by talking about oil filter adapter housing. Now this is a 3.6 liter Dodge engine, and these vehicles will always have problems with oil filter housing. This applies to Dodge Journeys and even to Dodge Grand Caravans, and pretty much on every Dodge Journey I get, I have to replace it. I will show you even where it is. I'll remove this cover. You will see part of the housing right here, and then it goes all the way down, right? And this always leaks, and it leaks quite bad. Now it's not too hard to replace. It's like three or 4 hours of labor, and the part is around $200-300, but this is something to expect. So if you are buying this vehicle, make sure to inspect it for any oil leaks and make sure to check the oil filter adapter housing. If it leaks, it will leak from down there. Even on the other side, you will notice lots of oil all the way down there, and then it's gonna drip behind the engine and onto the floor. So if you see oil leak, that's something to suspect. Problem with this is that Dodge, the Mopar OEM parts are plastic and they always leak. So I suggest, if you are replacing it, get aluminum one. Get the aluminum part, it will last much longer. If you are doing the aluminum, you will have to go with the aftermarket parts, but I believe it's well worth it because the quality of the OEM part is just not adequate. So go with the aluminum one and save yourself trouble, and that way you will not have to fix this every year. Now, other problems with this engine, what will happen? Engine will quite often overheat due to a coolant flow issue. That's very common on these vehicles. So what happens? The breeze may block cylinder head coolant port, and then the engine will overheat. Now, the fix for that, there's quite a bit of labor involved, but you just have to clean out that debris and that should fix the problem. If you notice this happening on your vehicle, this has to be done as soon as possible, because you don't want to drive while the engine is overheating, right? Because that will damage the engine and then you're in a lot of trouble. So this is something I experienced multiple times as well. And the third problem is with these engines, it's crankshaft position sensor. Most usually what happens, you will get check engine light on, the vehicle will run rough, you will get the P0339 code, and that's the code for the crankshaft position sensor. Now most often how this is fixed, that's actually the factory issue. You just have to add a small shim to the crankshaft sensor, and that will usually fix the problem. In more severe cases, the flex plate would have to be replaced, but I never had to do that. Usually just adding a shim will fix this issue, and that's something that Dodge dealers know about, and they should be actually fixing that for free, but unfortunately they're not. Other than that, these are quite good engines. They have lots of power. I've never had any major issues with the transmission. If it's maintained, oil changed always on time, you shouldn't have any problems, right? I mean, every make and model will have its own problems, right? And these things I mentioned, they're not too big, you know. It's much easier to fix than some other things like timing chains or some internal problems. The next thing I will mention is the problems with heaters in these vehicles. So what happens quite often, winter comes, you want to warm up the vehicle and the heat is not working, or it's working but not good enough. And that's very common. It happens like on almost every Dodge Journey. And the problem is with the heater core on these vehicles, right? It's just poorly designed, and what you can try doing, if your heater is not working, you can flush the heater core. Quite often that will fix it and you'll have the heat. If not, you'll have to replace the heater core. Now that's also a bit time consuming, and that's why I'm mentioning this. That's something you should know about. Other thing what happens, it's the thermostat. It will quite often fail, but that's easy fix. So if your engine temperature is not raising, it's not in the middle, or heater is not working, first you want to make sure that the thermostat is good. If it's good, then you want to look at the heater core. Okay, next I will talk about water leakage and water getting inside the vehicle. Now this happens quite often. We get quite a bit of rain here, and these Dodge Journeys seems to leak water. And the problem is often in these rubber seals around the doors, right? And I've even seen online when doing some research that lots of people complain the water gets under the front seat, right? And it usually leaks through these seals here, this and the back door, right? So the fix for that is just replacing these seals. That's quite annoying, but it happens quite often. Or even if your Journey is equipped with a sunroof, it might leak a bit, and then again it's a problem with the seals. And the last thing I will mention is the problem with the radio unit itself. So what happens, the radio screen will not power on, or your radio might not be working, or backup camera might not work, or things like that. Now this could be the software issue or the problem with this radio unit itself, because they actually like to fail. So first thing to do, you can always try to reset it, do the hard and soft reset. So disconnect the battery, connect it back, see if that fixes it. If not, you can try removing the radio fuses, insert them back in, see if that resets it. If nothing works, then you can go to a Dodge dealer. They can connect their OEM scanner and try to update the Uconnect software, and that should fix it. If that doesn't fix it, then most likely this unit will have to be replaced. I had to replace the radio maybe 5 times on these Dodges, so it's just like that. Okay, and this is pretty much everything I can think of right now. I know I've seen online also lots of people complaining about key fobs not working, problems with unlocking, locking the doors. I've never had that issue with these vehicles. I'm not sure about that. I know, like, if you're having that kind of a problem, maybe try looking. Make sure the battery is good in a key fob, right? And then you want to check the antennas in the vehicle, because I know on some other brands, makes and models, actually the antennas are quite often the problem. But like I said, I've never had this problem on these Dodges. This is pretty much everything I have to say. Don't get me wrong, don't get discouraged. These are actually quite good vehicles. They are good sellers. They don't keep their value too good, so don't overpay it, because the values on these cars drop fast. It's not an import, right? It's a domestic vehicle. But it will serve you good, especially if you have a bigger family. They also come as a 7-seaters, right? If you're buying it, always make sure to check the things I mentioned, and also always try to lie down under the vehicle, check for any oil leaks, and always check for any rust. I know I said I didn't have too much rust problems on these vehicles, but you never know. Always check the rocker panels, right? That's the main thing to check, and the frame as well, but the rocker panels are the main thing. One more thing, also check the door frames, right? You want to make sure there is no major rust here on the edges of the doors. If the car starts rusting here, then you have a right to suspect it's rusted underneath as well. Okay, thank you for watching this short video. I hope it was helpful and educational. If it was, please like it and consider subscribing to my YouTube automotive channel. On my channel there is lots of how-to videos, do-it-yourself videos, car reviews, product reviews, and other similar automotive topics.